The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Today, we'll be talking about top features added in MWF this year. This would include some of the top features. Again, it would not include all of the features that was added this year. We have another webinar already posted on YouTube if you want to check it out, which includes all of the features added in our new build. But this webinar will include the top features added this year. So let's just get started. Hope you guys can see my screen. As you can see, I have MWF tab open here. And if I just click on show module, we've made some visual changes first of all in our new build in MWF. And if I can just switch to the wall module, you could see some of the icons have been updated. As you can see in the settings menu, some of the features now have associated icons just to help you see and identify them better. Alongside with some of the tools now have dedicated space and different icons to them. As you can see, our wall, floor, and truss module also have different icons alongside with some of the other visual changes as well. With that, in Revit 2023, in our new build, first top feature I would like to discuss would be how you can now run clash detection with your curtain walls, alongside with how you can configure heat studs. We'll talk about sill track as well and some of the new feature added, alongside with some of the new features added in our multi-layer sheathing. So today we will look briefly about how to use all of the features and how you can use them in your project as well. So let's just get started with how you can run clash detection within your curtain walls. So I'm just gonna go to this view. Here you can see I have three different walls, and one of them, the curtain wall, will act more as a door opening. And my other wall, the curtain wall, will operate as a window opening, as you can see. And the third wall is a curved wall with curtain wall. Previously, we had to model an opening around the position of the curtain wall, but now you can just run the clash detection tool. For that, all you need to do is have just a generic wall and have your curtain wall. You do not need to create or model any openings. Just to make sure, when you select your curtain wall, and if you go to edit type, you need to turn on automatically embed feature in your edit type. Make sure this is checked. If it's not checked, the clash detection feature won't work in MWF. So just make sure every time you have a curtain wall in your generic wall opening, you have this feature checked. Once you make sure, you just need to hit OK. And once we're ready, I'm just gonna mass select both curtain wall and my generic wall. I'm just gonna go to my MWF Pro tab, and here I would go under the interference menu and I would select the clash detection tool. Here again, you would be greeted with this window. You have the first option, which reads transaction interval, which is by default set to 250. Transaction interval, basically it will run 250 clashes before it has a break, and then it will run 250 clashes again. And the number you can set is between 0 to 1000. You can set your tolerances, both your angle and parallel tolerance, if you need here. If you're working with a rule set, you would find it here. You can merge openings by checking here, and you would have some additional options here as well. And if you have an arc wall, you can also check this feature. But for now, it's not an arc wall. I'm just going to leave it unchecked. And here you would find your intersecting categories. So if your category is turned on, that means clash detection will, if a generic family / model would clash between these categories, and if they are turned on, the clash detection feature will work. So I'm just going to leave it as it is, and I'm just going to hit OK. This will bring up the cut opening tolerance. Here you can determine if you need any opening tolerance alongside with your opening. So I'm just gonna press and select 1 inch for all my right, left, and top bottom side of my opening. As you can see in this diagram, you have a feature to apply to all. If you have multiple openings and you do not need to specify tolerances every single time, you can just type them once and just hit apply to all, and it would apply to all of the openings. And here you would find some of the markers if you need, but for now I'm just going to leave it blank and hit OK. So as you can see, it created an opening and it has the desired tolerance. So that's how basically you can run the clash detection tool. So let's just go ahead and do the same with this one. Again, need to make sure automatically embed is turned on. Once it's on, you just need to mass select everything, come back to interference, clash detection. Again, you would be greeted with all these features that we just talked about. Hit OK. And now by default, you would have your previous tolerances and hit OK. And this should create an opening, as you can see. And once I'm happy with my openings that are created alongside with my walls, I'm just gonna select both of my walls and I'm just gonna quickly frame it. Set as active and create. Sweet. So that's how you can use the clash detection tool for your curtain walls. Also, I have a curved wall here. Quickly show you guys how you can do it as well. It's going to be the same. Again, need to make sure your automatically embed is turned on. Select everything, go to interference, and this time you need to turn on your arced walls. And again, it's going to be the same settings and hit OK. Happy with my tolerances, hit OK again. It would create an opening and just create the wall. Okay, and that's how you can. I do not see any cripples just because I have minimum cripple length set to 1 feet. We can just quickly change it to 2 inches just to have cripples. For my header, there you go. The panel label is flipped. The panel label. There you go. So that's how you can create an opening using clash detection for your curtain walls and a curved wall as well. Pretty sweet feature. Okay, moving on. So our next feature would be hitch studs. For these, you would first need to go into the marker manager and configure the marker. You would find it in the wall and in the framing, and here you would see hitch stud marker. For the best practice, if you ever need to duplicate or if you ever need to make any changes to the marker, I would always recommend to duplicate instead of overriding the existing one. So for that, you just need to hit this icon, which is duplicate. And for this, we're just gonna call it webinar and hit OK. Once I have a duplicate H stud pack, I'm just gonna double click on it, and this would bring this window. Here you would see for your H studs, you need to configure your left member. So you would find all the configuration settings for your middle member and for your right member. So let's just quickly go ahead and configure our left member. So you can select the family for your left member. For that, I'm just gonna select this family. You can associate the type, your cutback extensions. If you have more than one repeat, so repeat basically stands for account / repeat. So if this family, if you wish your left member to get repeated by a couple of times or maybe 3 times or 4 times, you can determine here. But for now, let's just roll with one repeat. That means I would have 2 left members. And 0 means just one member, but I wanted to repeat by the number 1. And if you wish to apply the same settings to your repeats, you can just click here. This means no matter how many repeats you have, all of them are gonna have the same settings. You can flip your member, you can rotate, you can flip the outermost stud, and you can turn on the feature for stamp for dimensioning. So that's how you can configure your left member. For your middle member, you would need to select 1, 2, 3, or 4. Number is predetermined, and you can specify all of them. For number 1, the same will be grayed out uh, for obvious reason. But if you have 2 members, again, it's gonna work as previous. So you can just turn on the same, and you can assign your family, and offset, and all the other features if you wish to. So once I'm happy with my middle members, just gonna move for my right member. But before that, you can have your connector family if you wish to, and your nested stud family. For your right member, again, it's gonna be the exact same steps. I'm gonna determine the family, gonna hit same, and I would just like it to repeat one time. Once I'm happy with everything, I'm gonna hit OK and OK. And let's just quickly frame this template. Like God, set as active and close. Didn't work. Let's just try again. Properties. I'm sorry. Marker manager. Wall framing. 8 studs. Let's just try one more time. I'm pretty sure it didn't work because of the markers. So let me just quickly explain the markers. So if I'm just gonna delete these markers, you need to place edge stud markers. You would always find it under your project browser, under families, under structural connections. And here we were using the edge stud instead of the new created marker. So that's the reason it didn't work. You just need to drag and drop. Thank you. Here on your wall, I'm just going to quickly create 2 of them. And once I'm happy with my marker placed, I'm just going to quickly regen my panel. Didn't work. Let's try again. No problem. Stud webinar. Everything seems okay. If not, we could just change the original. So again, the same steps that we did. Just gonna determine my family and the number of members that I'm using. Again, the same steps. And once I'm happy with everything, it's gonna use the same settings. I'm just gonna hit OK. And just making sure it got saved. And OK again. And again, I'll just delete those markers and add. Let's try to regen this time. Hopefully it works. If not, we can just try with a different panel. No. So let's just quickly try with a different panel. Maybe the panel has something in it. So I'm just gonna quickly create a generic wall. I'm just gonna place my h-stud markers. And once that is completed, I'm gonna go to my marker manager and wall framing h-studs. And I'm gonna repeat twice for the middle members. I'm gonna use the same things. For connector family, I'm just gonna leave it blank. Again, it's gonna be the exact same steps. Hit OK, OK, and OK. And once that is done, just gonna quickly bring my wall. Oh yeah, that worked. So again, we had a number of 2 repeats on either left and right. So I can just select it real quick. For the middle number, we selected twice. For our left, the repeat number was twice. That's why you see 3 members. You can flip them, and it would happen every time you would have a marker. If you wish to move marker or need to make any modification, you could just move it, and you just need to regen the panel, and the marker will follow your H stud type. So that's how you can configure H studs. Not sure why it didn't work in this panel, but again, it works perfectly fine. Okay, moving on with the cell track. So just gonna jump into this 3D view. So let's again go to the marker manager. And here under opening, single opening, you would find multiple built-up member system marker. So if you double click on this, we've already had these features. But if you go to cells now, you can determine the cell system as either cell track, built-up, or interlock. We're just going to talk about the cell track today. First, you need to override your template settings. If you do not, your menu will be grayed out. So once you override your template settings, then you can make some adjustments. Select as a cell track. You can enable panel cutbacks if you need to. You can determine your cell track family. Again, you need to override your template settings if you have any other track family that is active. And you can just select families between from the menu. You can add a short cripple stud as well, and you can determine their length here. I'm just going to leave it as 6 inches. And you can again override for your template settings for your short cripple stud. And here is where you can select the families. Again, if you wish to add any clips, you can invert them and not invert them and add them here. And again, here you would find the family of them. And if you wish to add any subassembly, you have the option as well. Alongside, you can, in this multi-system marker, you can also determine and override template settings for your kinks, jack. You can determine rough openings and your header if you wish to put your header on top of the opening either or top of the panel. So once I'm happy with my settings with the cell track, I'm just gonna hit OK. And it would ask me to update 4 instances. Again, always duplicate your markers. Do not overwrite the existing one. But since this is just for the webinar, this project is just for the webinar, I'm gonna do it anyways. But this is not the best practice, guys. So once I'm happy, I'm just gonna hit OK. So that would save that opening settings in that marker. But again, I need to apply those settings to my opening. For that, I'm just going to quickly bring back my opening. Select the opening, and under markers, you would apply opening type. So this is where basically you apply the selected marker. And I'm just going to quickly find multiple built-up member system. Once I'm happy, I'm just going to hit the blue check, and I need to regen the panel. And I'm just going to hide my window. So as you can see, it added the family that we assigned it to. It added the connection members. And if I'm not mistaken, it added the clips as well. Pretty useful feature, the cell tracks. And that's how you can add it for your cells. You can make some adjustments as well. Again, go to the marker manager, make any changes in your duplicated marker type. Again, come back to the opening and apply to your opening type. Pretty simple, guys. Okay, so that was pretty much it for our single layer top added feature this year. We're just gonna move on to our multi-layer sheathing and what's added in this. Again, these are not every single feature added this year, but these are some of the top features we've added in MWF this year for the ones who are joining late. Okay, anyways, so as you can see, I have a couple of wall panel here. So let me just quickly show you guys what's new in the sheathing. So once I go to the multi-layer settings and sheathing templates, if I just select any and go to modify here, we've added some new stuff, some fun stuff I should mention. So if you go to sheathing layout, we've always had some of the out-of-the-box layout for our sheathing. That includes basic vertical tiled, as you can see in the preview, basic horizontal tiled, horizontally staggered, and vertically staggered. But now we've added optimized. Basically, with optimized layout, MWF will place the optimized number of sheets to your panel. So it will optimize automatically with the width and height of your panel, with the openings present in your panel, and it would optimize the sheathing for you. It's a pretty sweet feature. Second thing we've added in sheathing layout would be the layout direction. Basically, with layout direction, now you can define where you would like to start the sheathing in your panel. So if I just click on the layout direction, it would have a couple of features in which by default it's going to be at the start. So your sheathing, MWF will place the sheathing at the start of your panel, end of your panel, both sides of your panel, or at the center bay. So we'll quickly see what those means. I'll demonstrate for you guys. And I think the third feature added was break sheathing panels at opening bounds. Again, if your layout is optimized, it's gonna be grayed out, guys. But if you have any other sheathing layout, you would be able to check and uncheck break sheathing panels. Okay, so let's say if my layout is vertical staggered, and if this is not checked, you can see in the preview for door, window, and just the generic opening how sheathing would act. This is again just an example to understand the feature better. And once you select the break sheathing panels at opening bound, it would break your sheathing at every single opening bound. As you can see, again, I would uncheck and check real quick so you guys get the idea. See how in window opening, the sheathing's kind of cutting the opening, but if you turn on the break, it would break the sheathing. So that is pretty sweet features added to sheathing. So let's just quickly see them. I've already pre-created some of the templates, as you can see here, and we'll talk about it in a minute. Okay, so here as you can see, I've already created a break sheathing, as you can see. So this is a horizontally staggered layout with break sheathing, as you can see here. This is vertically staggered layout again with break sheathing. Again, sheathing is cutting at every opening. Optimize does not have that option, so this is just sheathing with optimized layout turned on, as you can see. But let's just go ahead and create horizontally staggered layout alongside with no break sheathing, just for the demo. So I'm just going to quickly go to my wall properties, and here in sheathing, I would just I do not want any break, so I'll just select this and select. Again, do the same step for your door finish layer, no break, and select and hit OK. It will take a minute. So now you can see for both of those wall panels, the layout is horizontally staggered, but for one of them, the break sheathing is turned on, and for one of them, the break sheathing is not turned on. So you can easily see the difference, how it can help modeling / placing sheathing in your project. Let's do the same for vertically staggered as well. I'm just gonna select the wall properties, and vertically staggered, no break, select. I'm gonna do the same thing for this guy as well. Select. Okay, and just let it regen. Again, you will see similar results what we saw here. You can differentiate between both of them, and it's totally up to your preference, but this is how it works. Not gonna create optimize since we already have one. So yeah, that's how you can turn on and off brake sheathing. So let's just quickly see how you can change layout direction. Um, so I'm just gonna again go back to the wall properties here, and for my finish layers and sheathing, I've already placed horizontal staggered at end. So if I just quickly show you guys again in our sheathing template, modify here, layout direction is at start by default, but now we're gonna put it at end and both sides. Okay, so just gonna exit out of here. I already have a template created. So MWF Pro Suite, wall properties, and sheathing. I'm just gonna use at end, as you can see, and I'm just gonna turn off the brake sheathing for this template, and I'm just gonna select at end, okay, and select, and we'll do the same for another layer as well. At end, select. So once I'm happy, I'm just gonna hit OK and let it regen. So now instead of starting at E1, it would start at E2. You can see the difference in between those. It's just starting placing the first full sheathing from the side at end. And let's do for the both sides real quick. Again, wall properties, same steps over and over again. Sheathing, and for this one here, both sides. Again, if I just quickly go inside and show you guys, it's no break, and here it should say both sides. Perfect. I'm gonna select it. I'm gonna do the similar for this one and select it. Okay. Again, similar results, but you would see difference every now and then. So basically, those are all the new features added in MWF this year. Hopefully that was useful, guys. Again, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to let us know. And if you need to rewatch this, it will be uploaded on YouTube, so you can watch it at any time, alongside with other webinars that you can find pretty useful. And that's it for me, guys. Thank you very much for joining, and hope you guys have a fantastic day ahead. Bye.